I was just talking to someone about their child potentially being autistic. And she said, it's funny though, because he's not delayed with anything. So how would we see autism? And I was really taken aback for a moment, because I'm like, why delay? Like, I don't know, I suppose I don't see autism from this massive deficit-based perspective like a lot of TikTok does and most of the world seems to do. Autistic brains develop with purpose. And that means they develop the way they need to achieve whatever they need to achieve. Some autistic children may not talk until they're 5 or 6 or even after, because they have no need to. They've got other ways that they communicate their needs and they're effective. It doesn't mean they're delayed. It means they don't need to yet. So I suppose when we talk about delay, we're actually talking about timeframes set by neurotypical developmental guidelines. Those timeframes don't represent the autistic brain. Those timeframes don't show normal development to be, taking apart a video cassette player and putting it back together at 2 years old as normal. That's not part of the developmental milestone, and yet some autistic kids can do that at a really early age. I've got a nephew who was reading at like a 3rd grade level when he was 3 or 4 years old. That doesn't fit the neurotypical developmental guidelines. That's way ahead, but we don't acknowledge that. All we do is look at the delays, the times that these little brains are behind the neurotypical developmental guidelines. So a lot of the screeners and the screening tools, like Australia has one called ASD Detect, and it actually looks for signs of autism in small children, like under 24 months. And it's a really helpful tool to use. However, it's all deficit-based. So pretty much if there's no developmental delays, according to our neurotypical framework, then you're not going to see autism, which is really rubbish. That's terrible. So let's remember, the autistic brain develops on purpose. If you've got an autistic child and they're not talking, then maybe they don't need to. Like, I was at a parent's house the other day and the child sort of grunted and banged his hand on the ground, and mum ran over and knew exactly what he needed. I don't see a need for that child to start talking. His needs were met. There's no need. Like, some children don't see the need to use the toilet. They've got a great system. They've got an incontinence aid. It works. It gets changed. You beauty. Like, why would we change that? Some children actually can't feel their interoceptive input. They can't feel body processes in their body. So they don't actually know they're urinating until it gets to a point where they get so regulated that they can differentiate all these different body processes and therefore actually be aware that they need to use the toilet. And that's why it can look like a delay, because it's behind neurotypical developmental guidelines. But they're not autistic developmental guidelines. The last part of that is the socialization. So many parents are like, oh, he's delayed with his socialization. He needs social skills. No, he doesn't. He's developing the way that he wants to for his brain and for his body to be happy. Autistic children don't need social skills training. Let me say that again. Autistic children don't need social skills training. The only thing they need skills training in, or any training in, is just understanding consequences for actions. If you do things this way, children will respond to you in this way. If you like that, keep doing it. If you don't, do something different. I remember when I was a kid, I decided I was into surfing because I wanted to have friends at school. So I went and got all the surfing material and put pictures all up all over my room. I don't even like the beach. I like the beach, but I don't do surfing. I'm not a surfing kid. But I just wanted to fit. I wanted to be part of that group. I learned how to be able to have friends. I did it by finding their interests, learning their interests, and sharing them. That's what kids need to learn. And when I say that, I'm not saying they all need to mask and play roles and try and seek everyone's help. But what I mean is, if they want something to happen, they need to learn how to get that something to happen. We're not teaching them how to be social in the way that we think they should be learning that. All we're teaching them is, what do you want from your brain and your body, and how can you achieve it? If you do this, this happens. So showing children actions and consequences and then letting them choose the one that they want, that's the best learning we can give these little people. It's not about delays in their development. The autistic brain develops with purpose, and until it wants or needs something, it's got no reason to learn it.